Hello to everyone. In this video, we are going to analyze if the monarchy, in the particular case the British monarchy, has still a sense to exist, or maybe it is time to a radical change in the United Kingdom. So, in order to analyze these aspects, if we are close to the end of the monarchy, or if there are possibilities for many more decades to the monarchs, let's analyze how the monarchy institution has been evolving through time. And the evolution started especially around the year 1215 with the signing of the Magna Carta. This change started in the year 1215 with the signing of the Great Letter between the king and its barons. At the time, we have also to consider the influence of Rome all throughout Europe, because the Pope had a direct influence in most of the monarchs around Europe, including the one in the British Island. So, the Pope didn't like the Magna Carta because, in a certain way, the Pope saw his power diminishing because of the Magna Carta. So, the Pope didn't like the signing of the Great Letter because he saw a diminishing of his power thanks to signing of this important document. So, it's important to understand the relationship that existed between the Pope, that was the direct representative of God on earth, and the different monarchs. And this relationship make also the monarchs something or an entity that in a certain way is semi-divine, especially at the time. Nowadays, we saw the monarchs as everybody else. So the only thing that they have some duties, a lot of duties, but a lot of privilege also. So we have to understand, the point is, if there is a future for the current monarchies around the Western world, or maybe if it is, or we are at the end of the monarchies. Well, the change between the absolute monarchies and what we know nowadays of constitutional monarchies or parliamentary monarchies started with the Great Letter, but then there have been another important event that has been the French Revolution. The French Revolution, actually, like the Great Letter, didn't brought to France the new or the modern world, but they are stone that marked the change for what we know nowadays as Europe and as the Western world. So, in the particular case of the Great Britain or the United Kingdom, it's important to mention the role of Henry VIII. Henry VIII, with an excuse, in my opinion, cut laces with Rome. He understood the excuse was the divorce that was not given by the Pope. The Pope had an extreme power at the time, so the Pope decided whom the king would marry, everything, and even in the case as Henry VIII, the divorce. And this was an excuse, in my opinion. This excuse brought the Anglican religion to many countries, and the figure that represents the Anglican religion actually is the same king. So, thanks to this fact, Henry VIII became, we can say, and all the kings that followed him became semi-divine. So it was a very smart decision, and it separated the British island, in the future the British Empire, with the rest of the world because also of this decision. But then after King Henry VIII passed away, finally a daughter of him, Elizabeth I, arrived also in power. So the fact of not having a male child was obviously an excuse. Actually, one of the most powerful and talented queen in the history of England had been Elizabeth I. And then, when she passed also, it started the end of the absolute monarchy. It took power Jacob I of England and Scotland, and ended with his dynasty. It ended the absolute monarchy in England. So nowadays the question is, how much power has the British monarch? Well, it has much more power than what we think, and let me explain you why. Usually it name the prime minister, is dissolve the government, call for elections. These are the usual task for presidents around Europe. But the power of the king in England goes a little bit further. I explain you why. Because it has a direct control of the Chamber of the Lords. He named lords. Some of the titles are hereditary, and some other are named by him. So it has an indirect control of the Chamber of the Lords. That's why it is much more powerful than what many British people think. Actually, he has much more power. The point is, and I understand also many people from Britain that they consider very important the role of the king as representative of the institution as well as the unity of the United Kingdom. But the main question is, nowadays it makes any sense to have a king? It makes sense that he is the head of the Anglican religion? I don't know. I believe that the time of kings has ended, mainly. But also when I see other presidents in Europe, like for example President Macron or the one in Italy. The one in Italy is a very old guy that nobody knew him before his election because it was a political agreement, a spurious political agreements between parties with different ideas. So when I compare the king, the institution in England, with some other similar institution, not monarchy, like the president, other presidents in Europe, sometimes I'm tempted to think that maybe it's better to have a king. That's a little bit contradictory, but it has maybe, just maybe, it has or is invested of more representative power. At the same time, I believe that we are at the end of the monarchies all throughout Europe, or at least all throughout the Western world. So let me know in the comment what you think, give me your like, subscribe to the channel, and don't miss my book, Eurodementia. In it, we'll find everything you need to know about the European Union and how it wastes the taxpayer money in the cost of an absurdity, in the cost of a bureaucratic absurdity that represents the same union. Thank you.